guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. If you are new, I would love for you to hit that red subscribe button please and join this little community that I am building here on my side of YouTube. If you've clicked on this video, it means that you're probably either already here at Aviano Air Base, or maybe you just found out that you're moving here and you want to get some tips on how to find a house. I have so many Aviano related videos here on my channel and I will have them all linked down below in the description box. So I would love it if you would check out those other videos. They've got a lot of good, helpful information. I also have a bunch of vlogs on our personal PCS journey on what it took to get here to Aviano as well. If you are looking forward to this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up for me right now and let's go ahead and get into it. These are going to be my kind of tips and just in general things that you need to know when it comes to trying to find a house here while stationed at Aviano. These tips and tricks are in no particular order, so let's get started with the first one. When it comes to finding a house here in Aviano, there are two major ways that you can do that. There are two websites. One is ahrn.com and the other is homes.mil. Aside from those two websites, you can also use our local Facebook pages. I will try to link some of those Facebook groups down below as well in the description box. And what you'll find on those pages sometimes are people that are already stationed here that are getting ready to PCS out of Aviano, and they will post their house, how many bedrooms it is, what the landlord is like, what the rent is, and sometimes they'll even post pictures and videos of what the house looks like. So the Facebook groups are a pretty good resource, but they're not always accurate because not a lot of people do that, because letting the community know that it's becoming available, your messages on Facebook instantly get flooded with everyone looking for a house. Another great asset that you could utilize to help you find a house would be using a local realtor. I've had a couple of friends that have used realtors to find their homes, and from their feedback, they enjoyed the process. However, just as a little tip, when using a realtor, you will have to pay a realtor fee. So I guess you just have to ask yourself personally the pros and cons of using a realtor. Some of the pros may be that you don't have to look online at homes. You can just kind of maybe tell your realtor how many bedrooms you're interested in, how close you want it to be to the base, or maybe what specific town you're wanting to live in, and then she's able to find everything for you. A con when it comes to using a realtor could be the fee that they charge you, and that is something that you have to pay out of pocket. You don't get that reimbursed back to you. And maybe the language barrier, but I feel like most realtors here know decent English. And just a little side tip when it comes to realtors, Steven and I found our house on our own on ahrn.com. However, our landlord has this house under a property manager, which is a realtor company. So we kind of went through a realtor, but not really, because we found the house ourselves. When it came time to tour it and look at it, we had to go through the property management company. So we did have to pay a small fee for doing that, even though we didn't directly use a realtor. It's just because our landlord already had the property management team. So that's something that you may run into even if you find the house on your own. Once you find a home that you are interested in touring, I've got a couple of things that maybe you should keep in the back of your mind that you should want to ask your realtor or your landlord. One of those things being, does the house run on city gas? And basically what that means is just, does it run like normal, like the kind of houses you're used to back in the States? There's another option here in Italy that your house either runs on city gas or it runs on the type of gas where you have to refill like a tank in your yard every couple months depending on how fast you run through gas. So that can be a little different. I'm sure there's plenty of pros and cons to that, especially in the winter. I know families tend to kind of like burn through that gas quicker because you're constantly using the heater to stay warm, but it really just comes down to personal preference if that's something that maybe you don't mind, or if it's something that you're not going to want to have to keep up with, if it's just another thing added to the list of things you have to do. I've talked before about how the houses here in Italy differ from the States, and I'll actually leave that video right here linked above and down in the description box if you want to go check it out. But something to think about, because the houses here are so different, before you go tour houses, you should make a list of what are your must-haves, what are your deal breakers, what are you not willing to let go of, like what is something that you need your home to have that you're not willing to give up. Something that if this house doesn't have blank, then we're going to keep searching. And what some of those things might be are a ceiling fan. Now, ceiling fans aren't common in Italy, but I have seen more than enough houses have them here. So if one of your items are ceiling fans or a bathtub, are you the type of person that takes baths weekly? Every night? Do you have small children that take baths? Is a bathtub going to be something that you absolutely need? Steven and I rarely take baths, so that wasn't a requirement for us, so our house does not have a bathtub. Another amenity to think about would be a dishwasher. Not every house here comes with a dishwasher, and that's just because Italians choose to hand wash their dishes. So if a dishwasher is something that you want, that you can't see yourself hand washing dishes for the next 3 to 4 years, I would add that to your list. Another thing to think about is going to be screens on your windows. I've mentioned this in past videos. There is no centralized AC here in Italy. Your house should come with at least 2 AC units, and the rest of the time you open up your windows and you let the breeze come in, and that's kind of how you ventilize your home. So if your windows do not have any screens on them, you're gonna get all kinds of bugs inside your house. And so having window screens was definitely a must for us as well. More things to think about is, do you want a standalone home? Do you have pets? Do you need a big yard or a medium-sized yard for your dog to be able to run around in? These are just a few things to think about before you commit to a house. So definitely sit down with your partner and really discuss what are some important things that you're not willing to give up. A couple other things to think about when it comes to getting your house is, how close do you want to live to the base? It's no secret that either you as active duty or your partner are going to be traveling to the base at least 5 days a week for work. So how far are you willing to live from the place that you're going to be frequenting the most in this area? It really comes down to, are you a commuter or are you not a commuter? If you're still at your current duty station, do you live on base? Is it a short 5 to 10 minute drive to your squadron? Or do you live off base, maybe somewhere 15 to 30 minutes away, and you don't mind commuting already? So coming here to Aviano, you don't mind living in a town further away because you already are used to commuting. Or maybe it's something that you don't like commuting already at the station that you're at, and so you've determined at your next base you want to live as close as possible. This next tip kind of goes hand in hand with how far you want to live from the base. It's, what kind of town do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a small town where you don't necessarily have a lot of through traffic? Or do you want to live in a more bigger, medium-sized city where there's a little bit more to do? Maybe you want to be within walking distance to a cafe, to a restaurant, to a couple pubs or bars, or maybe you want to see what the nightlife is like and you want to get out a little bit more. You're a night owl, you like to stay out late on your days off, or you just really like the city feel and want to stay close to that. Or maybe you've got plans to travel a bunch, so you want to be close to a train station. Shifting gears here a little bit, I want to talk to you guys about something that is called OHA. OHA. Now, if you're in the States, you probably would know that as your BAH, but here, living overseas, it stands for Overseas Housing Allowance. It's the same thing, it's your rent money. So while in the States, you have two options. You can either live on base and your base will take all of your BAH money, or you can live off base, and if you're lucky enough to either buy a house or rent a house under your BAH limit, then you're able to pocket the remaining amount of your BAH. However, overseas, you don't have that option. Here at Aviano Air Base, there is no base housing, so everyone here lives out in the city, in the towns, and you use your OHA to find a house. But here, if you find a house that is under your OHA limit, you do not get to keep any of the extra money. All money, whether under or over or even at your OHA limit, gets taken. You can rent a house that is over your OHA limit, but I want to shed some light and maybe a little cautionary tape to maybe why you shouldn't do that. So say for example, your OHA limit is $1,100. Here in Italy, you pay your rent in euro. So even if you find a house at 1,100 euro, but you're only getting paid 1,100 American dollars, you're gonna have to pay a little bit out of pocket depending on the conversion rate for the day that you're paying your rent that month. It could maybe be $50, $75, $100, which, you know, isn't necessarily that bad, but it's just a heads up that you will be paying a little out of pocket. I know the majority of people would just see, hey, I get 1,100, hey, this house is 1,100, and think it's a break-even kind of deal. and it's not. So I just want to let you guys know you will have to deal with that conversion rate, and if your rent is even higher than your OHA limit, you'll have to pay out of pocket even more. Another great tip I've heard of, since Aviano takes all of your OHA rent, is that airmen, maybe straight out of the dorms, will go find a house that is their entire OHA cap because you don't get any back, so they want to spend it all. My only caution with that is that if you are a single airman, or maybe you just have a small family and you get this extra big house, that in tow is just going to cost you more money in your electricity and your gas allowance. So it may not necessarily be the smartest idea. My next piece of advice is going to be, if you or a member of your family are a gamer or a streamer, anything like that, Twitch, Xbox, anything like that where you like to play online games, something that I would recommend asking either your landlord or your realtor would be, is your house either capable of having fiber internet, or does your house already have fiber internet? Fiber internet seems to be the fastest, like high-speed internet over here in this part of Italy. Personally speaking, we have fiber internet here, and my husband does a lot of online gaming with his Xbox, and he hasn't run into that many issues with it. He really only tends to see some lagging if there is a storm, or if I'm also kind of streaming things on the internet, like if I'm uploading a YouTube video or something like that. But other than that, we really don't have any internet issues at all, and he hasn't had any issues with gaming either. While on the topic of fiber internet, how it works is there are cables that run from your house to a box that is actually out on the street. So depending on maybe how far away you are from that fiber box out on the street, your signal could possibly maybe not be as strong, but you'll notice them kind of driving around when you're going to look at for tours. They're like little boxes that maybe have like a TIM sticker on them, which is an internet company here with little red tops. You'll maybe even know before you get to the house, all right, I just saw a box a couple meters down the road. Hopefully this house is capable of fiber internet. Something else that you will want to be cognizant of when it comes to finding a home is going to be, what energy grade level is it at? Here, your energy level for your home is categorized anywhere from A through, I believe, E or G, and those are level grades for how well your house does on consuming energy. So the closer to A it is, the better it is, and the further away from A, so down to that E or G range, is going to be not as good. If you have a home that is graded not that well, you can expect your bills to be higher than someone who maybe has a home graded A through D, or maybe A through C. Coming down to my final tips, I want to talk to you guys about pets. You guys know that we have one cat and one German Shepherd, and so when we found our home on AHRN, it was actually listed as a home that would not allow any pets at all. But don't let that deter you. All you have to do is ask your landlord, right? There's no harm in asking. If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. So please ask your landlord, ask your realtor, will they allow pets? Now, before we got to the home that we're in now, we were sending pictures of Dallas and Mama to people through WhatsApp with other landlords that we were in contact in before we found this house. They want to know, is it a good dog? Are they well trained? We've come to realize while here in Italy, Italians seem to favor those small dogs, I guess because maybe they're not as messy, or maybe not as loud or something like that, or maybe they're just not as terrifying. I'm not really sure, but Italians tend to have super small dogs. So when it comes to bigger breed animals, I feel like they may think that either they're more aggressive or that they'll just do more damage to a home, so they tend to be a little bit more hesitant when allowing bigger animals. But like I said, we asked our landlord and they said yes. We have a really big yard, so I think when they saw like how happy he was being outside and running around and stuff like that, I don't know if maybe it warmed their hearts or not, but they said yes, and we're so thankful. And now Dallas has a really big yard to play in. So to sum it up, don't give up on a home or scroll past a home just because it says no pets. Always ask. The last tip I'm going to leave you guys with is to always carry a letter of intent with you. And basically what that is it is a piece of paper summed up saying, please put this house on hold for me. I want this house. I'm very interested in it, and I don't want you to show this house to anyone else that could possibly take it from me. With the letter of intent, you also have to put down a certain amount of euro with it as well, kind of like a deposit or a little hold fee. And I think that might be 75 euro. I'm not sure, just since it's been a while since we've used one. Now that doesn't force you into getting the house, but it does kind of give the landlord a, hey, I'm super interested in this. I want to start maybe looking at contracts and going over those and things like that. But like I said, you're not locked into it. So if you're still touring other homes, and let's say that you find another home that you're more interested or you liked better than the home that you just put down the letter of intent on, you don't get your money back. So once you put down a letter of intent, it's kind of serious. It really does mean that, hey, I want this house. And then you're putting money down. So if you find another house, or if you're still touring homes and you like a second one better, you don't get your money back. It's just kind of a lost cause, and you've got to go back and tell your landlord, hey, sorry, I'm not interested in this house anymore. But at least it's like, but at that point you haven't signed any contracts or anything like that. So that's why it's kind of like a hold, but not locked into it, if you know what I'm saying. Letter of intents can be extremely beneficial, especially during PCS season. You guys, there are only a certain amount of houses here, and when PCS season starts and every family is looking for a home at the same time that you are, it can kind of be like a little dog-eat-dog world. You never know if you look at a house and you really liked it, but you didn't put a letter of intent on it, so you keep looking for other homes. If you decide to go back to that first home that you saw, it could possibly be gone. So if you are serious about a home, it had all of the items on your checklist, and let's say you've been looking for houses for 2 or 3 weeks now, I would probably pull out a letter of intent just to save yourself. All right, you guys, I know I just covered a lot in this video, but I hope it all helped. If you have additional questions or you want more information on what it takes to find a home here in Aviano Air Base, go ahead and leave a comment down below, or you can follow me over on any of my social media. I will leave it right here as well. Don't forget that if you are PCSing here, or if you're already here, I have so many other Aviano related videos that I will leave linked down below in the description box, so you can go check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.